Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Joey Reese. Welcome to the Practice Center, where we talk about all things
mindfulness, forgiveness, and attitudinal healing.
Laura, welcome. I really appreciate you making the time because you are just recovering from being a little bit ill, under the weather. You're recovering from big trip to the mainland.
Yeah.
And so I know that it takes a while to, feel rested from your vacation and illness.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you feeling? Who are you? Please introduce yourself in a manner that feels like right for this moment.
Okay, sounds good. So hi, everyone. I'm Laura Pokipala. I used to be Laura Kupahu. I used to be Laura Pacheco. I started off as Laura Pokipala, and it looks like I'm going to finish off as Laura Pokipala. So,
Yes.
This is how the world goes, But I want to say right off the top that this last couple of weeks of not feeling well, I think was an epiphany for me to stop and continue to pause. I think that there was a lot going on at the end of 2021. I had a wonderful vacation with my family for a couple of weeks in the mainland, but I think my body said, you need to rest. So I had a couple of weeks of just Netflix binging, sleeping, drinking a lot of tea and water, and I feel brand new. I feel like brand new in 2022 right now,
Oh, wow. Well, you
and
look marvelous, my friend.
thanks. It took a few minutes to get all the right things in the right places, but thank you for saying that. I've been really interested in our practicing of mindfulness, forgiveness, and attitudinal healing through my work. And I'm super grateful that, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, super grateful that you exposed or introduced this process to me, because I really believe it has helped me become or evolve into the Laura Pokipala that I'm happy with, or that I'm willing to explore more. And I'm really excited that this process gives me that opportunity, to be honest.
Wow.
It's really, it's been a bumpy life, I'm not gonna lie. There's been some really big ups and some really down lows. And so it's been bumpy, but yeah. I guess I never realized that you can go through the motions and just survive. Mm-hmm. And not really see how wonderful the world is, and not really see how amazing life can be. And I think this process, really helped me to understand that a little bit more. And the best part of it is that I'm talking story with my sisters and my mom or a friend, and then they're actually repeating the words I'm saying and coming to their own realizations about, yeah, you really do need to be authentic and be okay with that without judgment. And it's like, wow. I think I say that a lot in my regular day, but that's what I say in my classes all the time. It's really good to be authentic.
So you're seeing the ripple effects of your work.
And I love the fact that we can reinvent ourselves so many times in our life. I love that fact. I believe I've done that multiple times. I've reinvented myself as a widow. I've reinvented myself as a new, wife. I've reinvented myself from being a food service worker to being a counselor. I've reinvented now from being a mom, a single mom, to now being a grandma. So there's just all this evolution that happens. And like I said earlier, for a lot of the years, you just dealt with what you dealt with. You really don't think about it. You just do your best to just muddle through. And when you get through it, you just hope it doesn't come around again. That's all you do, and you keep moving forward. So I've worked with young people and their families for over 20 years, at a variety of places. So I've worked with Salvation Army Interim Home, where, you have your adult youth that is in a drop-in center. It's a residential, I've worked with Catholic Charities in therapeutic foster world. I've worked with Social Security, which is a federal job, one of those jobs that you think, hey, when you get in there, you stay there because
You stay
that's a
there.
federal
Benefits,
pension,
girl.
baby. Yeah, that's a federal pension. So you stay.
Mhm.
And then in between, I did a little work with, family programs Hawaii. I've worked with Epic. So there's been a number of things. I've gotten my degree in counseling psychology. So, these things have happened over the course of these surviving years. Okay. And you do them because you got to. But
The
what
surviving
happened,
years.
the
Whoa,
surviving
Laura.
years,
The
that's what I call it.
surviving years.
The surviving, rather than the living years, because I feel like that's what I've evolved into, is the living years. I'm excited every day to get up and not just survive, but like do a new thing and try something else and have a new adventure, So that's the difference, I think, between the surviving years and the living years. But what I found super interesting, okay, I work with Lily Okalani Trust now. That is a organization that was brought forward by our final monarch, Queen Lily Okalani. She was quite an amazing, intelligent, talented person. And she had the foresight to think about the Hawaiian children that come after her. Will they be okay? Will they be able to be successful? Will they be able to achieve, all of the things that they should be able to achieve, because they're good people and they come from good stock. And, at the time, our Hawaiian identity was being, changed. We were basically being wiped out, by a number of different entities. First and foremost, from an illegal overthrow that occurred when she was at the helm. But what is the best part about our queen, and I'm learning that more and more now that I'm learning more about her, is that her ability to look at the big picture and use the ability to forgive, and use her ability to look at people and say, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I think that you're a decent person. I think that you are really a good person inside. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And she taught all of the people that followed her to be that way. Things have changed over the years. And I think that a lot of people have gone from let's be humble to let's not get stepped on, and it's a fine line, because you don't want to be that person that just lets everything go. But at the same time, you want to remember that as a Hawaiian people, we're not warriors because we want to be warriors. We take care, but our main focus is to live in lokahi, to live with aloha, be there for each other and be helpful and appreciate and be respectful of everyone, right? So the word lokahi means working together. The Hawaiian people have always worked together. And what they do is, and this word ahupua'a is a group of people would take care of a certain area of land from the ocean to the mountain. And in that parcel of land, you had kuleana, or responsibility. And the responsibility could be that you're the fisherman that brings fish to the table, or you're the farmer that brings kalo or poi to the table. You're the bird catcher that catches the birds, plucks 3 feathers, lets the bird go, and then creates these beautiful capes for our ali'i. There was a job for all kinds of things, but in lokahi, working together, everybody was able to eat. Everybody had a place to live. Everybody had a purpose. And that's how our Hawaiian people lived. And our queen wanted to see that happen again. So she took all her resources and she put it into a trust and said that this trust in perpetuity is for Native Hawaiian children and anything that it takes to keep these kids successful. What we're finding, as we all know, is that we are living in rough times, and there are some very high-risk families right now. A lot of domestic violence, substance abuse, incarceration, just neglect, lack of education. There's a number of things that our Hawaiian children are having to deal with. All of the children of Hawaii have to deal with. And so it's really nice to be part of an organization that really focuses on how can we better help these children and and in connection, they're families. So that's what brought me to Lily Okalani Trust, is that want. I've always worked with young people, and I always believe the earlier you get to them, the better chance they have. Okay. The earlier you get them to feel confident about themselves or successful in themselves, you got a better chance at these becoming adults that, make good choices and want to contribute to society
Right.
and be part of a thriving community. The word aloha, in the Hawaiian language, it does mean love. Aloha means, how do I say it? It's like an unconditional love, but it's a love that comes with responsibility. And what I mean by that is that when we use the word aloha, we're using that from an internal, a soulful space. It's not like, I love cookies. It's not like that. Aloha is more like, because I really want to have everyone enjoy cookies, I'm going to put together cookies and I'm going to share that cookies with all the people that maybe don't know about cookies. That's the difference between the love. It's not just something that is for you. The word aloha to me is really something that's reciprocal, in that when we show love, we receive love. And if we know our attitudinal healing, principles, we know that giving and receiving are the same. We know that we live with love and love comes to us. Yeah. So you see how lovely our Hawaiian worldview and our Hawaiian culture has aligned so well with what we're practicing at the practice center. 4 years ago, I left that Social Security job because I felt like, I see all these people coming in and I want to help, but my job at Social Security was very limited. You do the business and then get them out. It was very limited. So I realized that wasn't going to be what I wanted to do for the rest of the time, and got this job with Lily Okalani Trust. Well, I basically jumped out of a frying pan into the fire, because at that point, Lily Okalani Trust was going through this huge changeover. And so it was, really uncomfortable. It was really sad. It was a hard time, because when you're going through a transition with an organization that has done things for, decades, and now there's a whole new way of looking at, hey, if we want to keep the Queen's Trust in perpetuity, we have to make some changes from what we were doing. And so I didn't realize they were going through that transition when I jumped into it. I thought, Lily Okalani, they work with families and they really want to help kids and they're there for them. And I really wanted to go back to doing that. Well, at the time, a lot of times Lily Okalani Trust was just looked at as an ATM. You need a new bed for your house, you're part Hawaiian? Yes, we can pay for that. Now, I'm not putting down any of the workers that worked before, because they thought they were doing the right thing based on what they knew. And so they worked hard and they worked with a lot of families and they did a lot of great work. But at the end of the day, if we wanted to look at the future of the trust, we couldn't do that forever and ever and amen. It's just not feasible, and it just wasn't make any sense. So it was really difficult for those workers who had been doing it for 30 years, 25 years or whatever, to see that there's a new way, a possible new way. So it was a very uncomfortable time at the agency. For honest to goodness, and I have to contribute this to us opening our minds to the mindful forgiveness practice that we were able to enjoy. I went to your first class. What I learned from the first class is that, first of all, we have control over our own struggle. I learned that, these things that are making me upset or frustrated or whatever, I'm allowing it to happen because I'm not truly addressing what it is that has happened. And so I'm not, what did we call it? False forgiveness. I put it in the past. It's done. But in fact,
because you were always a nice girl and a good girl and you follow the rules, right?
Always got to do the right thing. Don't ruffle feathers. You follow the rules, you do that, and all good things come. Well, guess what? It doesn't. You can be the nicest person on the planet. You can do everything by the book and crap will still come your way. And I'm telling you, the crap is not just a little bit here and there. It's like mounds of crap can fall on you,
Ah,
even when you're doing everything right. So what I learned from that first class is that instead of wallowing in the fact that there's crap on me again, it really helped me to understand that, okay, let me brush this off. Let me look at what's really happening here. Okay, I can deal with that. Let me put it away and then move on, because tomorrow more crap's going to come down. So just, learn to brush it off, learn to move forward, learn to really look at it for what it is. Is it something that needs to be held on to for, a day, a minute, 10 years? You decide, but that's what I found from that first group. I had control over that. I had power. Okay, so excellent. I shared with people, God, you guys got to try this. It was pretty cool. I mean, 6 weeks and we got to learn some really neat things. It was cool. So then I went to another one and now I'm like, wow, I'm really learning more and more. I really want my coworkers who are now, like I said, team past and team future. They were bucking heads. We were struggling. The agency itself kept turning over its thought process. This week we're going to try this. Okay, it's not working. This week we're going to try this. Okay.
yeah.
We never stayed on anything long enough to see if it would actually work. They wanted instant. We started turning into what everybody looked at it as. We're a business now. We're not a social service organization. And that was very hard for a lot of people to hear, because they believed that the Queen's mission was social services. We need to help people. We need to make sure that everybody is okay, social services. But the business model is very different. A business model is you try this, it doesn't work, you try nothing else. So they used to call it failing forward. You try a lot of stuff, but when you fail, you just learn from it and move forward. Okay. Which I'm sure works very well if you're, building solar batteries, or if you're building, a new vaccine or whatever. It works very well to learn from the mistakes of the past and move forward. People are not like that. People need time. People need to understand things. We, as the workers offering it, needed to understand what we were offering, because otherwise we're just going out there and spewing something this week, spewing something next week, spewing something different the next week. We can't even stand behind what we're spewing because it was just always changing over.
So here
Yeah.
you are, relatively new within the
Yeah.
agency, recognizing the split, feeling discomfort, but also going through your own personal transformation, and you felt something around that.
Yes.
And so here you go. You bring me in.
Now the good girl is like, hey, you guys, this is something really awesome. You guys got to try this, And so gratefully, I had a team at my office still going through their own, decisions on how they want to go forward, but they were open to the idea. But once we were able to actually walk through the mindful forgiveness process together, of course, the process involves being vulnerable. You're sharing stories that brought you pain, may still bring you pain. And you're putting it out there to try and, dissect it a little bit, maybe come to peace with some of it, really learn how to take your ownership of your own choices and ownership of how you want to move forward. To me, that was like a breaking point at our office, because it really opened up everyone's eyes to the fact that I cannot blame team past or team future. I can only take responsibility for me. And when we started to believe that, guess what? We all wanted to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, you're a good person. You're working hard. You're trying. None of us wanted to be, we didn't feel as fearful anymore. We just knew that we had accountability for ourselves. And that, I think, has been where I'm at now in my own personal journey, is that this ability to take ownership of myself and the person I want to be has led me to then now not just open the door and have you come in and train us and go through it, but now we were able to open it up to the whole agency. And the whole agency now has had opportunities, at least 5 or 6 opportunities to participate in these trainings. And that just spread throughout the organization, and it's funny because there's a lot of changes that still happen, because sometimes we try something and it doesn't work, and sometimes it worked for a little while, now we got to adjust it and stuff like that. But the mindful forgiveness has only evolved. Now what we're noticing, and as we learn more about our Hawaiian culture and our Hawaiian worldview, because now we're away from that ATM thing, now we're like, hey, let's really embrace our Hawaiianness, let's really embrace our culture and bring a foundation of that to the community.
That's right.
Once we started thinking that way, then all of a sudden I'm like, mindfulness and forgiveness is very much like aloha and the worldview. Attitudinal healing is very much like how we believe, our values in our Hawaiian community. We all work together, we give, we get back. It's a reciprocal thing. So then we started seeing how the two were just like lining up.
Yes.
And now we're at a point where we offer mindful forgiveness with aloha to our staff. We offer it to our makua, or our parents of the children. We offer it to our older teens. And we're even at a point where, amen to this, we're going to start offering it to our partners that we work with, and allow this to just continue to spread like you had wanted, right? Was when you touch and then exponentially it grows. It's happening. And it's happening mainly because of the internal changes that have occurred within myself and all the other staff that have, taken the opportunity, to just learn more about it, really seeing how it aligns with our Hawaiian worldview and then living it, We have come to the point where it is embraced by a number of our executives. Have they been able to come and join us in any of the trainings yet? Not just yet.
But you took yours with your supervisor.
I did. Oh yeah, definitely. In our office, we did that. And actually multiple offices have done that. So like whoever's interested, we're all just one group of folks. We're not CEO or executive or supervisor. No, we are just all a group of people that are trying to live better lives.
And so you can agree that we can all sit in the same room together during this process. Yeah,
absolutely. It's been done, and it's also going to be done more. As I was saying, when I first started at Lili Okalani Trust, there was a lot of discomfort and fear and a lot of just distrust, right? So when I first started there, it was very difficult for me, and I wasn't sure why it was, but my particular supervisor was, I know now why she was doing it, but at the time I was like, why isn't this person teaching me stuff? First of all, why is she getting mad at me when I do it wrong? And what the hell? I am new. I've been here for 5 days. And it wasn't just the first 2 months. It wasn't just the first 7 months. It was the first 2.5 years of being expected to know how to do something without being taught. It was expected that not only do you do 12 things, but make sure all 12 are done completely and fully. And it was a work environment where you don't like it, leave. You don't like it, leave. And no one does well under those kind of circumstances. No one does well. And what we found out after we all did our group together, including my supervisor, was that, first of all, she was getting that from her. So she was living under the same fear I was. It was just from a different entity.
That's right.
I was always afraid of doing wrong. I was always afraid of getting in trouble. I was always afraid that, how the hell do I figure this out when no one's showing me? And she was in the same exact boat. And we didn't know that.
Yeah.
We didn't know that. We didn't know that until we went through this process and realized that, bruh, we're feeling the same things. We're going through the same things. Why don't we just start to work together how to work through it? And not just survive it like what we were doing. We were all surviving, just every day coming to work and just trying to live with that fear, but surviving through it. Now, my God, we work on all kinds of reports together. Our supervisor has taken a whole different stance from giving us, this is information, get it done, to, hey, this is what I heard. How do you think we should get it done? You see the difference?
Oh my gosh.
Huge difference. And you want to know productivity? The productivity and the work environment has increased. The positivity has increased. Just and the quality. Guess what? We all have our own strengths. And when we come together, just like in our ahupua'a, where the fisherman comes and the farmer comes and we all sit at the table and we enjoy a meal, this is what's happening now.
Amen,
The brilliance of each individual coming together at the table and we're all sharing our own strength is the quality. The product is 10 times better.
You and I might have different titles, but we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
How can we work together?
Exactly.
Like how simple. And it makes me mad. That's why I get mad so often. It's because it's so simple.
It's simple, but you know what?
Not easy.
We're still in that day and age where it's got to be evidence-based. You have to have, evidence that it worked and this and that.
Yes.
But you know what? And this is something that I want everyone to know about this practice. The evidence is in you.
Yes.
The evidence is when you wake up in the morning and you're excited about the day. And even if the day is so much unknown, the idea of being able to use this practice, meditating 20 minutes a day, being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes, or just listen and hear where they're coming from. Maybe they just need somebody to be compassionate with them. That brings so much joy to the individual. It brings so much life to the individual. It's just really important that, I guess all I want to say about the idea of going from survival mode to living mode is that it's every day you make a choice. Mm-hmm. And so, for instance, I raised my children on my own. After my husband passed away, we moved here. We left all of our family to come to this island. And so, the kids were not happy. All their cousins were left behind, and we basically had each other, and that was it. Now, fast forward 20 years, and the kids are thriving, they're successful, they have their own children, life is good. But now I am in a position where I'm no longer what I thought I was the caretaker and the matriarch of the family. I thought I was the matriarch of the family. And it turns out that my kids actually have their own thoughts. They have their own ways of doing things. And you know what, Mom? It ain't the way you did it. Very hurtful, because I raised you little guys. I took care of you. I put my life on hold for you. And now all of a sudden, the way I do things is not the way. So very hurtful in my heart, And yet, because I've been able to, and let me tell you, every day, I have my journal, as we all do. We walk through the steps each day, and it's a practice that has allowed me to now embrace the changes. That's where it moves from survival mode to living mode. It's when you take that step to move forward. I'm blessed, is all I can say. You said it a minute ago, it's a spiritual journey. All cultures, Native American, Native Hawaiian, Asian cultures, we all have a spiritual entity. We all do. And that spiritual entity really does start from your inner being. And so what I'm finding now is that I'm authentically living the way I am. I guess my kids are going to authentically live the way they are. It doesn't jive. I guess it doesn't have to, but I'm not going to take it personally anymore. Now, that's today. Tomorrow, they might say something and I might be like, what the F? you're doing that to me. You're saying that to me. I did, I might go back. I don't know.
Mhm.
But each day I'm learning that if I'm going to live my authentic self, and I should not judge them for their authentic self.
That's right.
And that's the hard part. That's been difficult for me because I am Miss Judgy Judgerson. Because like you said earlier, hello, you're a good girl. You did everything that you were supposed to do. You followed the rules. You never raised your voice. You were the one who always wanted to make peace. So if I'm that person, then I'm saying that everybody else should be doing the same thing.
Yes.
Why?
Why?
Why? Because I choose to live my life that way. Why does everybody else have to choose to live their life that way? And guess what? I don't even have to put myself down when I choose to do the wrong thing and not follow.
Oh, look at your face. I love
You
this.
know what I'm saying? I can be okay with the fact that I don't have to be perfect today. I don't have to be perfect any day. I just have to love the person that I am right here and now in this present moment. And
Holy shit, Laura, this is a
that's it.
totally different person. My
Right?
goodness, because yes, I remember, I don't know which session it was, you really wrestling with this idea of how you were perceived and that you needed people to see you as this good girl who was
Yeah.
holding up all the rules.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, man.
And I think that's, I can't tell you the exact day. And like I said, it comes and goes, but that was the moment that I decided that I am just going to be authentic with who I am. And just like things changed. I really want everyone to understand that we all have that ability. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. It just takes an ability to just embrace something different.
Yeah. Laura, I want to end with two poking questions.
Okay.
Has this work at all impacted your dating life and how you take care of your physical body?
Okay. I really believe, okay, so in regards to the dating life, where I was actively seeking something of a dating life, I've decided that I really need to go inward first. So that's what I've done. I've decided not to worry about dating, but I am just working on in appreciating the person that I am. So with that being said, I love now taking care of me a little bit more, doing exercise, maybe watching what I eat a little bit more. And not because I want to get a date or because I want someone else to find me or appreciate me. It's because I want to feel good, and that's the difference where and that's come like within the last maybe 6 months only with the work. Because I continue to do not just taking, groups, but leading groups. And you know how when you lead groups and you train groups, you actually get more foresight, insights, and it just helps you to grow and grow and grow. So I'm really appreciating that more about my practice. But I've decided to just look inside, and even the fact of oh, you didn't go to work out the last couple of days. I'm getting to the point where I feel good about myself because I make the effort. If today the effort wasn't able to achieve an actual workout, the effort, and I was sick for the last couple of weeks. So,
Yeah.
illness comes into play often, but that idea of beating myself up because I was too lazy or I wasn't motivated enough, that's something that I'm really trying hard to put on the back burner and never bring back.
Beautiful.
There's a saying, a Hawaiian saying, you oki something. When you oki something, that means that you cut it off, never to bring it back. And that's what I'm hoping to do with a lot of those negative scripts.
That's so beautiful, because it's never the point. The point isn't how often do we work out. The point isn't what are we doing externally to feel good internally. The point is feel good internally.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep. Period. The only thing I think that I want to be real clear about for myself is that I know for me, I need to keep on learning. I'm a lifelong learner. And lifelong learning means that there's going to be different things that come about. What I'm really grateful for is being able to see the alignment from one thing to the next. And so I would just offer that in anything that we're doing, whether we're learning about a new therapeutic intervention or whether we're learning about, a practice, an evidence-based practice that will make things happen, all of these things, what are they all aligning up to? And I think that what I can honestly say is, number one, love, number two, relationships, and number three, inner peace. Those three things really are at the root of almost anything that has benefited man,
Yes.
that each day, finding three things that you are grateful for. I think gratitude is a super huge way to start. And I find that when I'm really, really, really looking at all the good things that are around me, more good things come. And so I really like to just have folks remember that. And it is life-changing. Again, it's an attitude of gratitude, they say. But the attitudes that we hold really do reap benefits, or it can also reap really sadness and struggle. So I think that makes a difference.
Thank you, Laura. I look forward to our next conversations. I'm sure we'll have many more in the future. Thanks so much for this time and your energy and your presence. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Joey.
Thanks everyone for listening and watching. Appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you.